So in the meantime, before the game was coming out, Lau, I was hanging out with him, family, you know what I mean? Chilling out, watching UFC 277. And I personally thought the card was good, but there are specifically 3 fights I want to hit on other than in the prelims. Drew Dober had a fantastic body shot that led to a TKO. So definitely want to give him, a little bit of praise before we move on to that. But yeah, there were 3 fights from the main card that I really wanted to hit on. The first being Alexandre Pantosia versus Alex Perez. He had a good showing last night.
Yeah. He dominated that fight. What was that, like a 1 minute performance?
It's 1 minute and 31 seconds.
There we go. Almost a little close to 2 minute performance. He came out the gate. He wanted to make a statement. He didn't get the knockout he was looking for, but as soon as he wrapped his body around Alex Perez's body, not even choked him out. It was like a neck crank.
Yep.
He got his hand on the chin and just cranked it with full force. And Alex Perez was like, ouch, that shit hurt. And he tapped out.
That should be the name of the episode. Because he definitely did say ouch. Like, for sure. He tapped out real quick. Nah.
Yeah.
I was impressed, man, because I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not overly familiar with Pantosia, but I mean, anybody who wasn't familiar with him should be familiar now. He came out to many men. He said, hey, look, I need to make a statement. And pretty much from the moment the bell rung, it was touch and go. He was like, he wasn't trying to play around with Alex Perez. Like you said, hey, I don't get paid by the hour. I get paid by the fight. Let's wrap this up. Let's go home. We in Vegas. Obviously, I'm sorry. They were in Dallas last night. They're trying to have a good time. Get some steak. You know what I mean? Chill out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That makes even more sense because like I watched it and it literally, like you said, straight out the gate, Pantosia's all on him. Like he's literally like a pit bull practically. And as soon as he wraps him, like it's similar to what you're saying. It kind of goes downhill from there. Like I don't know. To me, I wasn't familiar with him prior to the fight, and it's definitely one of those fights where it's like, okay, this is on my radar now. Like I'm curious to see like what's going to happen in his next fight. Now I'm not sure who he would be fighting, or who would be the best fit, but he's definitely got the eyes of like a lot of fans after the performance last night.
Yeah, man. You got to give credit to the flyweights too, man, because what was it last week? You had Matt Chanel in that crazy ass fight where I thought he was going to get knocked out. Then he comes back and puts the dude to sleep where blood is all over the canvas. So I'm like, Jesus. Crazy. Yeah. And then you have this week where you have 2 banger flyweight performances. And I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton back to Nigel because I think it's going to lead to the next thing we're talking about.
The next thing we have to talk about is the baby assassin himself, who I chose against in this fight, Brandon Moreno. He beat Kai Kara-France. And I'm not going to lie, throughout the whole fight, he looked like he was feeling himself. He was moving around, kind of flowing in there. And he ended the fight. I heard the strike more so than saw it with a body kick that just sent Kai Kara-France to the ground. I was very impressed with his performance last night. And not only that, they ended it with bringing in Davison Figueiredo into the ring. And hey, look, we're going to set up the 4th fight. I think that fight personally needed more of a storyline around it other than the 3 fights leading up to it, just to make people excited for the 4th fight. Me personally, as an MMA fan, it makes me excited to see them fight for the 4th time. And I can't wait for it.
Yeah. I thought to speak on the fight first, I thought it was a good fight. It was very back and forth in the first 2 rounds. Actually, the first 2 rounds, you could argue they're kind of swing rounds. You could kind of make arguments that each fighter might have won the round. The 3rd round, though, Kai Kara-France was winning that round.
Yep.
He was busting up Brandon pretty bad. But Brandon, he was never out of the fight. And then, of course, well-placed liver kick, and Kai just folded, and then Brandon pounced on him, and the fight was over. Good fight. Kai Kara-France should not hang his head. I think he showed that he can hang with the best of them, and he'll be back. And I think it was good. And yes, it's time for the 4th fight between Figueiredo and Moreno to happen. That feud needs to end. But this 4th fight should be like the definitive end between the 2.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like just in terms of the fight itself, I was coming in from the Kendrick concert. So like by the time I saw the fight, I actually got a chance turn on the fight right before they had made the announcement who won the fight. But when I went back to look at it, it was a good performance. Brandon Moreno, especially, he looked really good for the most part. But that kick, as soon as you saw that kick, even when the first thing I saw was just the replay. And as soon as you saw the kick in slow motion, takes a step back, Kai France drops. Like, it looked beautiful. And even he said in the post-fight interview, like, yeah, I've been practicing that. Like, this is something he's been practicing ever since the last fight with Figueiredo. So, like, it's good to see like his performance, and it's going to be interesting to see like that fourth fight, especially for them to bring him into the ring, I guess you could say, or octagon. I mean, now granted, like I'm a fan of like sports in terms of like combat sports when they have a chance of trash talking. But he actually handled this like in a very humble way. Brandon Moreno just tell him like, yo, I got my kids watching, so I'm not even gonna say nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Let's just fight again. So like I think it should be interesting to see how the fourth fight goes, but hopefully similar to what you said, it's like the end of that, because I think this would be the first fourth fight series in the UFC, I believe.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yep,
I think it is, and to me is worthy enough to be a main event. Of course, you got to build a strong card around it. I hope Brandon Moreno wins. This Figueiredo dude just seems like an issue to deal with.
I agree.
Yeah, I hope Moreno wins and moves, because he seems like he's willing to fight the top guys. This Figueiredo dude, he just seems like he's a bit of a drama queen. But that's just my opinion on it.
I fuck with Deiveson Figueiredo because I think he can fight, but
he's a good fighter.
At the same time, it just seems kind of weird how he's handling this situation. Now, before we get into the main event, I did want to throw a little dishonorable mention towards the Derrick Lewis fight. It had kind of had an early stoppage, and there's not really much to say about it. He got knocked down for sure, but it just looked like he was about to pick himself back up and continue to fight, but we'll never know because the fight ended early. So there's a big question mark, and that's where we're going to leave that. Moving on to the main event, we had the rematch, Amanda Nunes versus Julianna Pena versus Amanda Nunes. And it was an interesting fight because Julianna Pena tried to fight a similar fight to the first fight, but Amanda Nunes looked more prepared this time around, definitely with the counter right. She wasn't letting her come in and fight her just any type of way. She knocked her down more than a few times, actually, en route to a decision win. And to me, it just shows like, hey, look, like it's similar to GSP Matt Serra, right? Hey, the first time you got me. It just is what it is. You got me. And I must have not been prepared that night, which that's the champion's fault, you know. At the same point in time, this time she was prepared and she looked very ready to fight Julianna Pena. Now, that being said, Julianna Pena stuck in there and she did catch her a few times on the feet and on the ground. I would say it's definitely still like if they were to go there, maybe more early in the fight, she would have a little bit more success. But Amanda Nunes is bigger, stronger, and wily on the ground as well. So she's not just going to get finished just like that. So Amanda Nunes, she looked good in this fight. She really just went in there and won. I thought her performance was great, and she is now double champ once again. You got to give it to her.
That's the craziest part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she ends up becoming double champion after this, like it's not even like she was just fighting for her belt back and she wasn't a champion already. Like to be fighting again to become the double champion for a second time. There's nothing more than you could say but congratulations. Like she looked really good in the fight. Similar to what you said, like even with Pena, it looked like she kind of was going for the same approach as before. Hey, let me rush her with a fury of like punches, and I might land and connect a few times. It was a couple good exchanges in that fight, but like that right for the most part, after a while, I just started dropping Pena over and over again. And personally, to me, like just looking through the fight, like at no point could I ever think that Julianna Pena won a single round in this fight. Like you can see where you can just see where Amanda was just way more like, hey, you got me. I'm way more prepared and I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you and make sure you realize like this was what happened was a fluke. And she definitely delivered.
Yeah. Shouts out to both ladies to put on a entertaining fight. It was definitely a bloodfest. So I know the fans that loves blood and guts. That's probably the fight to see. That's what they're tuning in to see. Amanda Nunes, she it was clear as day. She spanked her from pillar to post. What I will say is I did choose Pena to win by decision because I thought Pena just had her number because she showed in the fight last night, as the time of this recording last night, that she still wasn't scared. Yeah, she got dropped like 6 times, knocked down 6 times, but she kept coming. She even landed some hard shots on Nunes. Actually, I think this fight, even though Nunes was the clear winner, I think this fight, though, really exposed some holes in Nunes' game on the feet. Her striking defense is not really good at all. And the only reason why she did win, because she's the better striker against her and Pena, and she dropped Pena many times because she has the power. But Nunes got hit a lot. And I think that's very telling for somebody who's looking for holes in her game. So whoever she fights next, and I don't know who, so I'm not even going to go there, but it'd be very smart if the training camp really does some film study and look at those glaring holes of her getting hit as much she got hit. But with that being said, on the fight itself, though, Amanda Nunes clearly won. She beat her on the feet. She beat her on the ground. I do think that if they went to the ground like first or second round, she might have got caught in one of those submissions because she kept getting caught in submissions. And I'm like, she's making a lot of mistakes, man. And I that's what that fight showed me. Yeah, she won clearly, so there's no debate. But if it was against somebody who wasn't just blocking punches with their faces like Pena, if she fought a real talented striker, I really think that she'd be in trouble. So we'll obviously, we'll just have to wait to see who our next opponent is. Shouts out to Amanda Nunes because she came in and got the job done, and she got it done the best of her abilities. And shouts out to Pena because she tried to prove it wasn't a fluke. Even though she did get her ass whooped, she kept coming. She landed some good shots. She did get quite a few submission attempts. It just wasn't good enough. And Amanda Nunes reclaimed her throne as the queen of mixed martial arts.
Yeah. What are you about to say?
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, I agree. I think the thing, just in terms of the holes that Lau was speaking on, like we saw a couple of times in that fight where Amanda, she was getting caught, and like in certain instances, I think she got caught at least once or twice, and she just went for a takedown. Like had this been like Lau said, a better skilled fighter, she probably would have gotten taken down. And that's probably why in those earlier rounds when she was dropping Pena, she wasn't going to the ground. Because even from the submission standpoint, like even though like Julianna was getting hit, like you said, she kept coming at. I think at some point, I think they said she had at least 10 or no, at least over it was over 10 submission attempts in the whole fight. So like any better skilled fighter, I think she'll definitely have a problem moving forward.
Pretty much the fight that they're setting up next is going to be, or what they're rumoring is the Valentina fight. She had mentioned her on Twitter, or pretty much mentioned the fight on Twitter. And they also asked Dana White in the post-fight press conference if they were going to fight next. And he said, it doesn't sound like a bad idea, quote unquote.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a good fight for both women because they cleaned their divisions out. Pena, right. She can't come back for another fight for a while. Apparently, she was getting surgery last night. That's how fucked up that she got. Right. So I think that's the fight to make next. Let's see who is the best female fighter of all time. Who's going to be number 2, and I feel like that should be the fight next. Amanda said last night after the fight, she did say she did want to take a little break. She wanted to go home in Brazil and be with the family. So if we do see that fight, the earliest would be December, but we might not see it till like January or February next year. And that's cool for us, though. That's cool. It gives time to build new contenders up and shit. So
now we did have a fight coming up next weekend as well, but that fight was canceled. That's right. Jake Paul, the faux boxer that we've had pretty much for the last few years will not be boxing. Rahman Jr. pretty much.
Hassim Rahman Jr.
Thank you for pronouncing it correctly.
I'm just saying, man, because I got a name that I know motherfuckers, like, when they see this shit, they're gonna butcher it. Not because if they really want to, it's just like, damn, I don't know how to pronounce that. So every time I see somebody with a name, and if I know how to pronounce it correctly, because I heard them announce it their proper way, I always try to give them that respect, because I know what it feels like when motherfuckers be jacking my shit up. So
no, that's fair, and I respect it. You know, if I butcher your name, it's not on purpose and it's not out of spite. You know, right. I just can't pronounce it well, and it is what it is. So I apologize for that. But Jake Paul's not fighting next weekend. He supposedly canceled it, and according to Dana White, it cost about $500,000 to turn the lights on at MSG, and apparently they did not sell over $1 million worth of tickets. And they said also hotels and travel expenses do add up as well over time. He pretty much said, hey, look, I don't think he really had the money to do everything he was trying to do and pay the fighters who were going to fight. Who knows what the real story behind it is, but we do know that Jake Paul has still not fought an accredited fighter. And not only that, this fight has gotten canceled when it's been canceled a couple of times. So what do you guys have to say about this? I don't think it's a good look for Jake Paul, because he's supposed to fight Tyson Fury's brother, then that didn't happen, then this didn't happen. Maybe he fights Tyron Woodley for a third time or something like that. Maybe he can find some redemption. You know what I mean? Man,
listen, yo, Tyron Woodley knows to stay wherever he stays now. Like, whatever, I don't even know what Tyron Woodley does anymore. T-Dog.
He's a trainer.
Oh, he is.
No shame in that. No, I'm just saying I don't know what he's doing.
Oh, I was gonna say, if he was a physical trainer, that's what's up.
Like, he can't be a fighting trainer. He can't be a coach.
That's a fall right there.
It's not.
He's working at your local gym. Like.
Yeah, Planet Fitness.
Yo, listen, yo, I see it like this: whatever makes Tyron Woodley happy in life, if he wanted to become a rapper again, and he was like,
"Don't do that."
T-Dog, come, yo, Nigel and Loud trying to do this track with you. You want to do a song with him?
I'll do a song with him. Yeah, because it's you know, there's going to be money involved and some type of exposure. I would do the song not to be like, I'm trying to get on as a rapper too, but you know, I would do the song like, hey, highly advised podcast. You know what I mean? Check us out.
A good business opportunity.
Right. Exactly.
What if he was like, yo, I'm making this song and I'm gonna play this in front of Jay-Z, so I want y'all on this.
Great.
Yeah.
I hope he does hear my voice. It's gonna be good. I can't speak for his.
Yeah.
What if he was like, yeah, I had to take you off that whole verse off that song with Hov. I think he said he just wanted me on the song.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like, dude, you wasted our time.